Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jamie here with Simply Living It. Today I am sharing with you all some homeschool curriculum items that I purchased for the homeschool year 2019-2020 and I have not yet used. Stay tuned. So I just want to give you a little disclaimer before I get started. I am a self-diagnosed homeschool curriculum junkie. I love to research all kinds of homeschool curriculum, all different methods for all different styles, for all different learning types, for anything and everything under the sun. I love to research homeschool curriculum. So in that process, naturally comes homeschool curriculum that you purchase that you don't actually end up using. Now, I've had this happen in the past, but not quite as much as this year. And if you stick around, I'll tell you why and explain that a little bit more in depth. But I want to share with you some of the items that I had purchased for our 2019-2020 homeschool year and the things that I didn't actually use, or maybe the way that I used them in our home instead of the way that they are intended to be used. So I hope there's something you all can take from this video. I hope it's helpful to you. If you like this content, please give it a thumbs up. It is a way to help support my channel and also give me feedback on what you guys like to see. So the first thing I want to share with you is America's Story from Masterbooks. I purchased America's Story 1. I purchased the teacher's guide that you'll see up here, which is the worksheets. I purchased 2 of these because I intended to use it with 2 of my boys, my older 2. And then I also purchased the book because Masterbooks is a little bit different. The teacher's guide is actually the worksheets. And this book, the main book, is what I use as the teacher, as the read aloud. So America's Story 1, the read aloud, yes, we use it. We love it. It's not been an issue at all. I've used that just like I planned to. Now, America's Story, the teacher's guide, which is actually the worksheets, we dropped this pretty early on in our school year when we began using America's Story 1. So this is all the worksheets. There are timelines in here. There are crossword puzzles. There are map adventures. There's different sketching, different things you can draw. So naturally, you will sit down and read them a chapter out of America's Story 1, the read aloud, and then they will answer some questions in their teacher's guide or workbook. Now, I like to just do the read aloud, guys. So day 9 is the last actual worksheet that we completed out of America's Story 1. So this is something that I had purchased for the 2019-2020 school year that we did not actually use the way that it was intended to use. We just stopped using this altogether as far as the worksheets. And we pick a story in order and read a story about America's history together as a family, as a read aloud instead. The next thing is also from Masterbooks, guys. So if you've been around my channel for a while, you know that I use teaching textbooks, and I like teaching textbooks for many reasons. I don't know that it's a favorite. I just feel like it is easily adapted into our home, in our homeschool. It helps things flow very easily. My boys get it. They're not too picky about math. Or the way that it's delivered. So I thought, why don't we try a traditional textbook approach? So we purchased Math Level 4 and Math Level 6 for my 4th grader and my 6th grader. This is something that we also got to page 42, and that's where we left off. So I just want to mention, it's not that I didn't like Masterbooks math lessons for living education. I just feel like since my son was already used to teaching textbooks and that style and that approach, it just worked best. There was too many things that we were finding in Masterbooks, the math lessons for living education, that we were having to go back and teach him a different way instead of the way that he's used to with teaching textbooks. So that could just be my child, the way it is. He's used to teaching textbooks, and I changed it thinking it would be a good thing. And I think it is for the most part for concepts that he already gets. But when he's being taught a new concept, he prefers the teaching textbooks method. And so that's what we're going to stick to, what we ended up switching back to for my 4th grader and my 6th grader alike. Now, I do want to mention that I think this would be an awesome book to use through the summer, and I don't plan on getting rid of it because we have these simple problems that through the summer months, if we decide to stick with Gather Round Homeschool group for the summer, we can add in a little bit of math without doing the teaching textbook style. It can just be kind of a informal sit down and do a quick page or something and practice the lessons that were taught for him at that particular time. So that is Math 4 and Math 6 that I purchased the books from Masterbooks, and we didn't use them. So the next thing I want to share with you guys Another thing for masterbooks, because I love masterbooks. That was what I was hot on, guys. I was on fire for everything masterbooks, and then everything changed. So masterbooks, not that there's anything against masterbooks. I'm not saying that at all. I still enjoy masterbooks, but it's just something better came along that works well in our home for the season that we were in. And had I found this prior to masterbooks, I probably never would have even purchased masterbooks, because what this led up to was everything that I was looking for in my homeschool. So writing strands, I think this is beginning one. I purchased this for my 6th grader. We got about, again, page 31. Page 31, that's where we left off. I do still love this, you guys. I love how Bible-centered it is. I love it. I love it. You're dissecting the Bible. You're dissecting characters. You're learning how to structure your sentences and form paragraphs and write essays. And I still have a place for this in our home. I just haven't figured it out yet. So it has not been finished yet, but I intend to finish it because I think it's very good information, and I do feel like it is important. And I feel like it's a good, positive thing and an easy format for my son to follow when it comes to writing. So no, we have not finished it yet, but we plan to. I'm not doing away with it. So you will probably see this in the future. The last thing I want to share with you guys is masterbooks. This is the teacher's guide for the elementary science, the soil, sea, and sky. Now this is so awesome and I love it, but you guys, I just didn't find a place for it in our home for this season of life because we are in co-op. They were getting so much science in co-op, and I knew I would be taking a step, kind of overloading my plate, so to speak, if I purchased science, but I loved it and I wanted to make it work in our home so bad. I love everything about it. We have this huge book of Earth and Sky that is going to be awesome with our Gather Round Space unit, which we are starting here within the next week. I cannot wait, but this will pair awesome with that. And I also, that kit that I purchased came with this bugs book, which is a huge, thick, awesome book all about bugs, and this ecology book, Wonders of Creation, which I think will be so awesome. I do feel that this is a good tool for our home. I think it's something we will use and something we will love. I think there's things in it that I can implement in co-op, and that's kind of where the struggle started for me. Is I purchased a lot of this stuff thinking that I would be able to tackle all of it in addition to co-op, and it's just too much. So a lot of this stuff they're already covering in co-op, so I would be duplicating it here at home, which is not a bad thing, but I would like to try and focus at home more of the stuff that they're not already getting in co-op. So that is why this science stuff has not been touched yet either, but it will. We will get to this. I'm not sure when. I'm thinking I want my youngest to maybe be 2nd grade. So maybe the coming school year, we'll sit down and work through a little bit more of the soil, sea, and sky and focus on that type of things. But this book will be awesome for our space unit. I'm really excited for that. And I think all of these have a place in our home. I just feel like my ideas of what I wanted my homeschool to be and what I wanted my homeschool to look like kind of changed. Like, it was a huge change for me this year, and so needed. And I prayed for this so much. I was basically drowning, it felt like, in our homeschool, the way things were going. I felt like I couldn't do it anymore. Like, it's got to be easier. There's got to be an easier way to do all of this with 3 kids with 3 different ages. And all of this stuff got put on the side when an answer to my prayers came, which was the Gather Round Homeschool curriculum. And I know I've talked a lot about that, you guys, but it is everything to me right now in our home, in our homeschool. We are learning so many awesome things that we would not have been learning before. And I know I've touched on that a lot, but that is why some of the science stuff got set aside. That's why writing strands got set aside, was because the Gather Round Homeschool curriculum covers a lot of that stuff. There are not experiments in it, so to speak, but we get that in co-op. So I wanted something that when I'm at home, I can sit down with all of my kids and do it together. We can read together, we can learn together, we can look up things on YouTube together, watch videos together, get books from our library together, which is kind of a bummer because my library is the worst. They have maybe 6 books out of the whole entire space unit, and that is a real bummer for me. But we're gonna make it work. I'll purchase some fun things that we need to do. There are awesome things on the Let's Make Art channel here on YouTube where we can do different watercolor paintings and so much fun stuff. So Gather Round Homeschool curriculum is the reason why a lot of this stuff did not get touched, aside from math. Math was just my own, I'm going out on a whim, we're going to change our math, and then I realized, yeah, no, that's not a good idea. And that's okay. We're allowed to do that in our home, in our homeschool. We're allowed to make changes. We're allowed to try new things and find what fits our flow best. So that's what I am on a journey of. And you guys, I feel like I'm almost 7 years completed homeschooling. I feel like I'm finally getting it. I'm finally figuring my life out. I'm figuring out my homeschool. I'm figuring out my learning style, what I want our homeschool to be and what I want it to look like. And a lot of this stuff that I purchased for the 2019-2020 school year that did not get used, the reason it didn't get used is because of my love for Gather Round Homeschool curriculum. So I wanted to share with you the things that I purchased. And if you're, into masterbooks, maybe masterbooks is your thing and you're wanting to supplement, there are totally ways to do that with Gather Round Homeschool curriculum and masterbooks alike. It's just making it fit in your home. And some of the ways that we do things aren't going to work for you guys, and the ways you do it might not work for me. And I know that, and I accept that. And we need to all just understand and respect each other and what it might look like in your own home, and to be okay with stepping out and changing it to fit your lifestyle. And that's why I want to show this stuff to you guys, because yeah, there's a teacher's guide and there's a student book. Do I have to use the teacher's guide and the student book? No, you don't have to. You can make it your own unique individual style for your home and what your family needs. And that's what I have done, and that's why I want to share it with you, because you can do it. It's totally possible. It's not necessary to have everything under the sun on your plates, on your kids' plates every single day to where your homeschool becomes a nightmare. So just loosen up a little bit, find what works for you, find what fits your flow. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, move along, find something that does. And it's okay to switch in between. It's okay to change your mind. We are homeschool moms. These babies were given to us by God to raise up the way we best see fit. And that is what we're doing. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, give it a thumbs up if you like this video. I will see you all later in the week. Until then, bye.